Good evening, I'm Coach John T. Reed. I wrote 2 books on baseball coaching. One is youth baseball coaching, covers 12 and under. The other, coaching teenage and adult baseball, that covers 13 and up. And the adult baseball refers to Men's Senior Baseball League, National Adult Baseball Association, semi-pro. I played all 3 of those. What I'm going to talk about this evening is fixing your hitting in the middle of the season. There's 2 things you can do. One is instantaneous, and the other is fast acting. The first one that's instantaneous is using a light bat. Just a vast majority of kids, maybe 99%, have a bat that's too heavy. And why is that? Because they're insecure about their manhood. 6-year-old boys insecure about their manhood. And they also have parents who are 45-year-old men who are insecure about their manhood, and they can't abide the thought that somebody might snicker at how light of a bat their kid's using. So when it comes to bats, you sort of can't be too light. And as I said, the vast majority of kids are trying to swing a bat that's too heavy. My last season in the Men's Senior Baseball League, I played in the over 55 league. The over 55 league, the pitchers can only throw in the 50s and 60 mile an hour range. When I played in the over 30, they're throwing 70, 80, 90 miles an hour. But you get into the over 55, which I only did 6 games, and I got disgusted with it. Thought it was a travesty, and I stopped. This is the bat I use. It says on it, youth baseball. Now, I was a 61-year-old guy in the over 55 league. And I weighed this. Doesn't have the weight written on it. It just says youth baseball. It has a length of 29 inches. Now, I have long arms, so 29 inches is long enough for me. It's hollowed out here in the end, which is legal, but that makes it lighter. I weighed this on my postal scale. This is 20.5 ounces. And that's what I was swinging in the over 55 league. I did just fine. There's my sweet spot stain from hitting the balls. It never broke. It's a wooden bat. We had to use wooden bats. It never broke, which is the main problem with light bats. It didn't sting my hands like some light bats do. And I did just fine. I was pounding the crap out of the ball. So light bats is one thing. You just buy them and make the kids use them, and your hitting will get better. You get 2 things from the bat, the light bat. One is bat speed, and the other is bat control. So you got to get the bat on the ball. The ball is a certain number of inches inside from the side of the plate, and it's a certain number of inches above the plate. And you need to get the sweet spot of the bat, or your batters do. You need to get that right on the ball. And the lighter the bat, the greater their ability to maneuver it, to lift it up when the ball is higher. And as far as hitting hard, for some reason, a lot of fathers and coaches think that you have to have a heavy bat to hit the ball far. That is not the case. As a matter of fact, there have been a number of books written by physicists on baseball, and they do scientific tests. The slower the pitch, the lighter the bat needs to be. There's a guy named Dr. Bobby Brown. He created a thing called Rookie League, and he advocates ultralight bats for the kids. And I'll get into the ounces. But Ted Williams, arguably the greatest hitter of all time, certainly in the modern era, he borrowed a teammate's bat once, which he called pumpkin wood. Now, I don't know what pumpkin wood is. Pumpkin's a plant that grows out of a vine on the ground. But he said the bat was like a toothpick. Pumpkin wood, I guess he meant it was like very, very, very light and kind of had a lot of air in it or something. Anyway, and he always preferred light bats in general. But he decided in one game, go to the plate. The bases were loaded. He hit a 410-foot home run to center field, grand slam. You know, one of those old Major League parks, Yankee Stadium or Fenway Park or whatever. So he hit his toothpick, he called it, pumpkin wood, super light bat. Hit the ball 410 feet, grand slam home run. Johnny Bench was a big advocate of 31 to 33 ounce bats for himself. I mean, he's a big burly major leaguer. A lot of the major leaguers regard 30, 31, 32 ounce bats as light. So that's what he used, and he's Hall of Fame. Tim McCarver wrote a book that I love called Baseball for brain surgeons. He said, what a light bat lets you do is wait longer. And when you play, as I did, semi-pro, and you play against former A-level, AA, and AAA minor leaguers who can throw 90 miles an hour and they can spot the ball, you need to be able to wait as long as possible to decide whether or not to swing. Because those guys, they'll throw a pitch like a slider. It looks like it's a curveball or just an inside pitch, and then all of a sudden it breaks over the plate. So you have to recognize that's a slider coming, and you got to look at it a little bit. A slider, the red laces make a little stationary ball, a spot in the middle of the ball. But you've only got 4/10 of a second for that ball to get to the plate. So while you're looking for that spot to see if it's a slider, you got your bat back. And then when you see it, yeah, it's a slider, you got to go down and get it because it's going to break low and away from you, same-handed pitcher. So what the light bat lets you do is wait longer, which everybody needs at all levels. You got to see if it's a strike or a ball. You want it on the first 2 strikes, you want it to be in the heart of the strike zone. So you're looking for you're trying to see where is this pitch going to be in the strike zone. So the longer you can wait, the better. Same with fastballs. A fastball, you might not even have the 4/10 of a second, maybe 3.5 or something. So, but you got to see where it is to hit it. And you can't see where it is when it's still in the guy's hand. So you need to be able to wait, and the light bat lets you wait. Barry Bonds, one of the greatest hitters of all time, he used a 31-ounce bat. Again, very light by Major League standards. Tony Gwynn, one of the greatest hitters, a batting championship winner a couple times, I think, 31-ounce bat.
I'm trying to find the average current weight in the MLB.
This is my son Dan, who I coached in baseball.
Giancarlo Stanton occasionally drops to a 31-ouncer.
So it occasionally drops to 31. He's a current major leaguer.
He's like 6'7".
6'7".
260 pounds or something.
260.
250 maybe.
So,
but even that big guy doesn't need the big bat.
Ron Polk was the baseball coach at Mississippi State University. Maybe he still is, I don't know. And he wrote a book that I love. It's a baseball playbook, great big thick thing. These 2 books of mine are pretty thick. And he wrote one similar, 8.5 by 11 and very thick. It's a baseball playbook. It shows where everybody on the field needs to go on defense in all the different situations. But anyway, he said it's better that your bat is too light than too heavy. So that's what I'm advocating. Joe Morgan, famous second bat. I think he's got more home runs career than any other second baseman. He used a 30-ounce bat. So job number 1 when you're at the plate is to get on base. And the way you do that is you make contact with the ball if it's in the strike zone. Now, so if job 1 is to make contact, and your kids are going up to the plate and they're not making contact, you switching them to a light bat, and their father starts complaining, well, he won't hit the ball as far. What? He ain't hitting it at all yet. So let's get him making contact with the ball, and then we'll worry about the laws of physics and what kind of bat he needs to make the ball go farther when he hits it. But he ain't even getting a bat on the ball, which is a typical manifestation of a bat that's too heavy. The bat that I used when I played the Men's Senior Baseball League and the National Adult Baseball Association and semi-pro, the aluminum bat that I used was 27 ounces. Now, I told you the major leaguers are 31, 32, 33, 30 ounces. I was 27. And my teammates would pick it up in the dugout, and they would see the words 27 ounces on it. They say, oh, this is too light. You know, I'd never use a bat like that. It's too light. Insecure about their manhood. But over the years, the words on the bat that said 27 ounces wore off. And my teammate, and I moved to another team. And my teammates would pick it up in the dugout. Yeah, I really like the feel of this bat. Can I use this when I bat? Yeah, sure. So once the 27-ounce words rubbed off my bat from use over the years, everybody loved my bat. They were all using it. But when it said 27 ounces, yeah, too light, too light. So, idiots. I had a bat when I played in the adult baseball leagues that was 23 ounces. 23. That is ultra light. And you could tell looking at it, it was small. This thing is, does this look like a bat that a man would use? I mean, I bought this at it says youth baseball, and I bought it in Sports Authority. It's in the little league section. But this 23-ounce bat I had, aluminum, it's super light. You're approaching fungo bat weight. at 23 ounces. But I remember once we were having batting practice, and because it was so light, I had tremendous bat speed. And I'm really getting around on that. And they're throwing batting speed pitches, which are, 60 miles an hour. And I'm pulling line drives down to the third baseman. The guy, I looked up once, and he's not there anymore. He moved into left field. And we all said, what are you doing? He said, I'm not going to stay there and get killed by these line drives. So I had my 23-ounce bat, and I could whip it around so fast. This guy was in fear for his life down here. This is an adult, guy who used to play high school baseball or college baseball. He backed into right field to get away from those things. Now, that was stinging the hell out of my hands. A 23-ounce bat hitting a hard ball coming at me 65 miles an hour. That was stinging the hell out of my hands. But you can get little silicone things you put around your thumb, and it's got like a lump sticking out on one side, and I think that'll insulate you. I did not have hand stinging when I played with this wooden bat that's 20.5 ounces. Fungo bat, where you think about the fungo bat now, fungo bat is the one that's got a real skinny handle, then it gets fat just for a short distance. That's what they use to hit the ball to the infielders, get one, get two, or to hit the ball to the outfielders in pregame warm-up. Fungo bats weigh about 23 or 24 ounces. Now, why would they be so light? Because think how fast the pitch is coming when you're doing fungos. You toss the ball up in the air and hit it. The pitch is coming like 3 miles an hour or something. So the lighter the bat, and this is what the physicists have found, the lighter the bat, the slower the pitch is coming, the more you need a light bat, because the ball, when you think about it, a hit in baseball, the ball is reflecting off the bat. So if I take where's my bamboo bat? Here's a piece of bamboo. This is really light, okay? So I would have greater bat speed and greater bat control with this. But what's going to happen when I hit the ball? It's going to break. The ball's not going to go anywhere. So you got to have a little bit of heft behind you. But with the fungo bat, 23 ounces, you flip the ball up in the air and you hit it, and it goes 350 feet to the outfielder. So you should think about the extremes. Suppose you give a kid a 10-ounce bat, like a 6, 7-year-old kid. Now, he's going to whip that thing like a fly swatter, okay? So he's going to have great bat speed, great bat control. So, you throw a ball against a brick wall, it's going to come back at you. And how hard it comes back is how hard you throw it. So the lighter you throw it, the less it's going to come back. So what you need to do to make the ball go back out hard is move the brick wall. Or in the case of a baseball player, is make the bat go faster. The faster the bat goes, the harder the ball is going to go back into the field. So if the pitch is coming slow, you want the lighter bat to get the greater bat speed to impart more energy to the ball. And the fly swatter, the bamboo pole are not going to work in a baseball game. They don't have enough mass to make the ball reflect. So you can be too light in that sense. Now the other extreme would be to give a kid, a little leaguer, a fence post and tell him to swing that. Now what's he going to do? He's going to arch his back when he swings. He's going to be having trouble getting, the higher the pitch is, the more trouble he's going to have getting the end of the fence post up there. So what you see when a kid's got too heavy of a bat is a slight manifestation of that same thing. He's going to arch his back a little when he swings because the bat is too heavy. That, to me, is the main thing for telling if a bat's too heavy. But I can tell you if a bat's too heavy without ever seeing your team. Just how old's the kid. Generally, you want the bat to weigh 9 ounces more than the age of the kid, right in that area. Now, you can make it 8 or 10 or whatever, screw around with it, see what the kid likes best. But so what I'm advocating here with the bat is I want you to go get some light bats for your team. Your team's not hitting well, fine. Go out and get some light bats. And I'm talking about I don't know, 18, 16, 17, 18-ounce bat. Depends on the age of the kid. 9 ounces more than the age of the kid. So a 10-year-old would have a 19-ounce bat, or 18, 20. Go get those bats, and then get some sandpaper and sand off the weight, okay? And just, you can identify them. You can buy these grips, bright colored grips. You can maybe buy a red, an orange, and a yellow grip, and tell each kid, you use the yellow, you use the orange. And their hitting is going to get tremendously better instantaneously. And you got to, the father's going to say, well, I bought him a bat, and that's the one he's used to, he's practicing. No, I'm the coach. He's not hitting as well as he could, so I'm going to have him use my bat in the game. So cool your jets. You apply next year to be a coach, and then you can have him swing that bat. But I'm tired of watching him swing that bat and not make contact. You know, baseball players occasionally get caught cheating on the bat. So they put like corks inside of it, or they put balls inside of it. And of course they have to drill down inside to do that. And then they have to put the cap that they cut off back on and make it so the grain's lined up so you can't tell that it's been screwed around with. But what are they doing when they cheat like that? When they drill a hole down the middle of the bat, inside the bat, and then cover the cap up so you can't see it, and they put cork in there. What are they doing? They're making the bat lighter. Okay, so these are guys that would never be seen with a 32-ounce bat in their hands because they're real men. They got to have 36. But then they drill a hole in the damn thing and stick corks in it to make it lighter so they can hit better. Lighter is better. The ideal, there's a couple of physicists named Bayhill and Watts, engineers. And they study this, and they got the machines in the laboratory and all this. They found that for little leaguers, the ideal weight was 20.1 ounces. Now, I dispute that because little leaguers cover about 4 or 5 years. You know, and they mentioned a 10 ounce. They didn't say what age, but they mentioned a 10-year-old in the same discussion about the 20.1 ounce bat. This one of mine. This is 20.5 ounces, 20.5. So, and then they check for softball. Now, what's softball? You got a bunch of burly 250-pound men with beer bellies. What's the ideal bat for adult softball? According to Bayhill and Watts, 19.4 ounces. Why do you want to bat that light in softball? Because the pitch is moving slow. So it's like throwing at a brick wall slow. If you throw it at a brick wall slow, it's coming back slow. If you get a bat where you get great bat speed, because you got your great big fat arms and you did 19-ounce bat, you're going to impart energy to that ball that makes it get moving.
I've played some adult softball. I guarantee no one's swinging a 19-ounce bat.
Yeah,
under the age of 60.
And if they did, they would do better. But they're insecure about their manhood.
Almost no one.
Now, I grew up in the 50s and 60s, and we did something called choking up. I don't know if it still exists.
Yes.
But our bats were all wood because that was the only kind of bat there was. And we choked up significantly. And I, even when I was playing in the adult baseball and the semi-pros, when I got to strike three, I choked up, and I just slapped at the ball like a goalie, trying to get it on the ground.
My 7-year-old daughter's team, they all know what choked up means.
Oh, okay.
It's still used.
So I want you to erase the weight on the bat with sandpaper or whatever, or paint over it. But get rid of that, because all the people who are insecure about their manhood, and the parents, the players, their grandparents, they're all going to be against light bats. So you get the light bats, you erase the identifier of how light it is, maybe put some colored tape on it or something. Say, Bobby, use a red one, and off we go. You should have an instant improvement in your hitting. 9 ounces more than the age of the player. 10-year-old uses a 19-ounce bat, 8-year-olds 17-ounce, and so forth. So now bunting. I am not going to tell you can improve your hitting with bunting in the middle of the season, in the sense that you're going to give up on swinging the bat to hit the ball. It's not instead of hitting the bunting that I'm teaching you about. It is as a prelude to hitting better. Ty Cobb has the highest career batting average of anyone in history. And he said whenever he got in a slump, the way he got out of it was by bunting in a game. So he would bunt as a way of getting his eye and his hand coordination, so he had the bat on the ball again. I used to go to a batting cage in Pleasanton, California, every day, work on my swing. And they had like 5 or 6 cages, and the one on the right end was 80 miles an hour. Now, I had hit in other cages that were 80 miles an hour, and I had no trouble hitting. But I couldn't hit in this cage to save my life. I just couldn't get on the ball. So one day I went there, and a Little League team had taken over the batting cage building for their own little practice. So I couldn't get into any of the cages except the 80 miles an hour. I had been normally using the 60 or 70 mile an hour cage. So I had to go into the 80 mile an hour cage because I'm here, and I drove all that way to get there. I need to do my practice. So I figured, well, I'll work on my bunting. So I did a couple of sessions where I'm bunting left, bunting right, bunting left, bunting right, maybe fake bunt and slash. And after I did the 2 sessions, I had the bunting down, and I figured, well, let me try the 80-mile-an-hour machine. Maybe somehow I've gotten better or whatever. So I put the machine in and started taking full swings, and I'm hitting line drive after line drive back at the net where the hole is that the balls are coming out of. And I thought, what the hell is this? So later, my team, my semi-pro team, the manager decided to go to that batting cage, the same batting cage at Pleasanton, for a team batting practice. So they all come over, and they all get in the 80-mile-an-hour cage, and they can't hit it. And I get in, pow, pow, pow. And they were astonished. So they figured, well, Christ, if Jack Reed can do it, he's the worst guy on the team. So they get back in the 80-mile-an-hour cage. They cannot hit it. And I get back in, pow, pow. So what happened, I don't know why. I don't understand the mechanism. But bunting against that cage got my eye on the ball from that cage. So, and Ty Cobb found that bunting, when you're in a slump, gets you out of the slump. Don't ask me why. I don't understand it. But I damn well blew the minds of my teammates when they couldn't touch the 80-mile-an-hour cage, and I'm having no trouble with it. But initially, I couldn't touch it until I bunted 2 sessions. So that's the idea here behind the bunting. I want you to have your guys bunt, not because we're going to switch to bunting and give up on hitting, but because somehow bunting makes it easier to do a full swing hit after you do a certain amount of bunting. Here's what I want you to do in your practice. I want you to devote an entire practice to an intra-squad game where it's your guys against your guys. You got 12 or 13 on a Little League roster, so you're going to put people in the field, fill all the spots, and then you're going to have the other guys batting. Now, when they get on base, I want them to stay on base, because what we're going to practice here is we're going to practice bunting for the batters. We're going to practice putting the ball where you want it, down the left side, down the right side. We're also going to practice bunt defense. So the guys out in the field, they're going to get really good at bunt defense because we're going to have a whole game where it's all bunts. Another thing we're going to learn is when you turn to bunt and the ball is not in the strike zone, pull the bat. And until you practice that, every time you tell a kid to bunt, he will bunt. He will bunt if the pitch is 5 feet over his head, and it'll be called a strike. So you have to teach them. It doesn't take long. You just say, hey, if it's a ball, don't bunt because it's a strike if you don't hit it in play. So you put your bat out there to bunt. You see it's not a strike, pull it back. You have to practice that. A little bit, but you got to practice. You don't practice at all, they will never, ever get a ball when they should, when they're told to bunt. So keep track of which guys on the team reach base. You have to keep drills short. I'm talking like 3 to 5 minutes normally. But when it's a competitive drill, like an intra-squad game, where the kids are competing to see who can get on base, then you can do a competitive drill for an hour and a half. So we're going to make this competitive by keeping track. Maybe you get like a whiteboard and you put everybody's name and you show, he got on base 2 of his 3 times or 1 of his 3 times or none of his 3 times. So you want to put pressure on them to beat each other. And then you can go the whole practice or maybe half the practice doing this. If you try to do that with a normal drill, the kids will get bored and they'll misbehave. You want to also practice during this intra-squad game 3rd strike bunting. A lot of people think you only bunt on the first 2 strikes because if you bunt on the 3rd strike and you hit a foul, then you're out. So I have a solution to that. Don't hit a foul. Put it on the damn ground. And how do you do that? Practice. Practice. There's a number of baseball game movies where the final scene, the team is losing and what are they going to do? There's one, it was a little kid who got in the major leagues. And here he was in a big game, and I think he was a pitcher even. But a little kid playing Major League Baseball, and they get in a big game. Spoiler alert: you come down, and they're going to lose. They got a runner on base, and the kid's got 2 strikes on him now, 3-2 count, I think. And guess what he does? He turns around to bunt, and they don't expect it because nobody bunts on 3rd strike. Because if you bunt on 3rd strike and you foul it off, you're out. But he doesn't foul it off. He puts it in play. He makes it to first.
The little kid that plays in the majors because he throws real hard.
Yeah.
Rookie of the Year.
Rookie of the Year, name of the movie.
Yeah.
And then it was another one. It was a Japanese baseball. I think Tom Selleck was in it. Same deal.
Yeah.
The big surprise at the end of the movie was he turns around to bunt on when he's got 2 strikes on him. No big deal. You put the damn bunt on the ground in fair territory. So the idea that you never, the rule doesn't say if you try to bunt on 3rd strike, you're out. It says if you foul it off, you're out. So don't foul it off. Christ, you're standing there. You practically got the bat right in front of your eyes. It's fairly easy to do. You can't do it just by saying it. You have to practice it a little. So during this intra-squad game, we're going to learn how to have the greatest bunt defense in the league. We're going to learn how to have the best bunting in the league in terms of putting the ball in the spot where you want it. We're going to learn to pull the bat if the pitch is not a strike. And we're going to learn to how to bunt on the 3rd strike and not freak out about the ball going foul. I also tried to teach, I can do it easily, but for some reason my kids had a hard time doing it, is where you fake a bunt, and the 3rd baseman or 1st baseman come charging at you, and then you slide your bottom hand up, looks like this. So you're holding it to bunt it, and then when out in front of the plate as the ball's coming, and then just as they let the ball loose and the 3rd baseman, 1st baseman are running at you, you slide your bottom hand up, so you really choked up, and you slap down on the ball. You slap down on it to put it in play. And I executed that perfectly once in a semi-pro game. When I was batting and I was the player manager. So I had to put one of my damn players at the 3rd base coach position. And you can't put a player in those damn base coach positions before they start giving signals. You know, they feel like I'm the 3rd base coach, therefore I have to put on a play. No, you don't. Just shut up, do a bunch of fake signals, and be quiet. So he puts on a bunt. And I went around, I was the batter. I went around, and I had a runner at first. I went around the bunt. It was not a strike. I pulled the bat back. I called timeout, and I went down to the guy. I figured what I'm going to do, I've set them up now for a fake bunt and slash, which is where it looks like I'm trying to bunt. So the 1st and 3rd baseman come charging, and then I slide my hand up and smack the thing, and it'll be able to get through more easily because the guys are charging at me. And we have a runner at 1st. So I made it a bunt and run. So I told the 3rd base coach, I said, all right, you just signaled for a bunt. I want you to signal for a steal on this pitch. And I'm going to do a bunt, but you don't tell the runner it's a hit and run. Just tell him to steal. So here we go. You know, the pitcher winds up and throws. I come around, show bunt. They charge again. The runner's going. I slide that bottom hand up. Bam! Base hit in the left field because the infielders did their bunt thing. You know, one of them ran to 3rd and one came charging in. So it was perfect. And we had never practiced it. I knew how to do it from reading about it, but I'd never done it. But perfect. So you could teach your kids to do that. So the other team starts crashing in to field your bunt. So smack the thing hard. And I used to do that all the time. I didn't show bunt. I would get 2 strikes, you know, from swinging and not hitting it. So now I got 2 strikes on me, and I would choke way up on the bat again. This is my normal 3rd strike choke up, and I would hold the bat over the plate. I wouldn't hold it back here. Hold it over the plate, and then just chop it. And I hit line drives into the outfield. I mean, I got 2 strikes on me. I figured, okay, you got me. I'm just going to put it in play. But sometimes that little chop hit a line drive to the outfield. So that year that I started doing that, I didn't strike out the whole year except for 2 times. Once, the strikeout pitch called strike was like chin high. My dugout went nuts. And I said, hey, you know, part of the game. The other time, I just swung at the ball and flat out missed it on strike 3. But 2 times I struck out that season because whenever I got 2 strikes on me, I went into that goalie mode where I'm choked way up, I'm holding the bat over the plate, and I'm slapping down at it. You cannot get a strike through the strike zone when I'm doing that. So you could teach your kids that, in theory. I don't know why it's hard, but I had trouble getting the kids to do that. I don't know why. But I would try it with your team. So that's all I have for now. Catch you next time. Here's the, again, the 12 and Under book, Youth Baseball Coaching, 3rd edition. And then I wrote another one for the 13 and older because you're liable to take a pre-pitch lead and so forth. So it's a different game. Plus the personalities and the behavior problems and all with the teenagers and adults require a whole big discussion. So good luck at your team.